Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of Desi Football Banter. हमारे साथ हैं SP, Kishore and AP and we have Daksh bhai aka A for Arsenal in the house everybody. Daksh bhai welcome यार. Big welcome and big thank you हमारी छोटी सी कुटिया में मतलब छोटा कोई green screen कुछ है नहीं, studio audio कुछ है नहीं. So
it's the same. But yeah, thank you so much for like having me on here. I remember when you guys I think Vivek, you approached me and I think who somebody else also DM'd me and मेरे को लगा कि ठीक है, like दो लोगों ने मेरे को लगा दो लोगों ने DM किया है, या तो ये बड़े creepy लोग हैं या तो ये generally they just really want me to be there, so let me just like check out their channel. So मैंने देखा and I really like the vibe and I'm happy to be here man. Hello, how are you guys? Hello to everyone in the channel भाई, कैसे हो?
जेन्युइन वाला विवेक है, creepy वाला मैं हूँ.
दक्ष भाई पहले तो ये बताओ वो ओडेगार्ड वाला हैंडबॉल था क्या?
यार आई थिंक था यार. यू नो फॉर अ फैक्ट कि अगर हमारी टीम के अगेंस्ट ये होता ना, वो रेफरी ने कब उस टीम की चड्डियां पहनी थी, इसकी वाइफ की तीसरी ननद इस वाली टीम की फैन है एक्चुअली, तो हम सब ना ये निकाल लेते हैं इनकी कुंडलीज. यू हैव टू बी ऑनेस्ट. आई थिंक देख अगर हमारी टीम के अगेंस्ट होता आई वुड बी लाइक सुपर पिस्ड एंड ऑल, बट ठीक है यार, वी गॉट अवे विद वन. इट्स जस्टिस आफ्टर दैट विला वाला यार. वी शुड हैव हैड अ गोल आल्सो.
मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन आपके लिए दक्ष ये है कि यू बीन अ गूनर फॉर सो लॉन्ग एंड आप अपना चैनल चलाते हो एंड यू आर डूइंग सो वेल कोलैबोरेटिंग विद योर ऑडियंस एंड योर फेलो यूट्यूब क्रिएटर्स वगैरह एंड यू इवन गो टू द गेम्स टू वॉच द यूसीएल गेम्स. मैं वो भी आपका स्ट्रीम वगैरह में देखा है ये बारी. व्हेन डिड यू फर्स्ट start following Arsenal and what made you follow Arsenal in the first place?
I think for us, all of us, na, there's never like हमारी family follow करती थी तो हम करते. There's no like heritage as such, and most of us really either just follow out of accidents or peer pressure. Simple सी बात है.
Right.
या तो तुम्हें अपनी या तो you don't want to get bullied in front of your friends कि like है देखा मेसी है बारसा है यूनाइटेड. Or it's just accident, and mine was just by accident. I had like a game called FIFA 2000 and it was a demo and उसमें दो ही teams you could choose at that point of time. One was Arsenal and one was Real Madrid and मुझे तो कुछ भी नहीं पता था, so I just chose Arsenal because it was the first team जो दिखी थी उसमें. And so I played with it and I got familiar with the names. Again, absolutely zero concept of football at that point of time. And then there used to be this show on ESPN on TV, जहाँ पे they used to review the week's games and the goals and everything. You know, I started recognizing कि यार ये players के साथ तो मैं खेला हूँ. एक Arsenal game के highlights दिखा रहे थे and I was like, oh, okay. And so I started tuning into that show weekly and what I started doing is trying to recreate the goals by the players in the game itself. Then धीरे धीरे I started understanding, oh, okay, this has happened.
ये ऑफसाइड है, ये थ्रो है, ये फ्री किक है.
ब्रो मुझे तो ये भी नहीं पता था इनविंसिबल्स इज अ ह्यूज थिंग. ठीक है,
Invincibles 49 times Invincibles.
आई वॉच द इनविंसिबल सीजन एज माई फर्स्ट प्रॉपर सीजन ऑफ फुटबॉल. एंड मुझे लगा ठीक है सभी जीत जाते होंगे, सब इतना हुआ क्यों मचा रहे हैं कि हारी नहीं एक भी गेम, कोई होगी अच्छी सब टीम्स होंगी. बट देन यू नो एज एंड व्हेन यू go into the game you realize okay there's this context. Okay, Man United Arsenal is this. Oh, Sir Alex Ferguson. Oh, Arsenal is not named after Arsene Wenger. तो ये सारी चीजें you know you learn as you grow. And you know कि like हाँ Arsene Wenger does not own Arsenal. I never saw him celebrate and stuff like that. तो मुझे लगा ठीक है, now I'm understanding the game a bit. And then before I knew it man, I just couldn't stop watching Arsenal. At a point of time I think it was the worst decision of my life. क्योंकि 2006 onwards से तो भाई मुझे लगा मैं कहाँ फंस गया.
Right.
But नहीं यार, no matter how many times I tried to move on to another team, I just couldn't ever. I just couldn't. Arsenal was like
First
that
love.
team. Just exactly. I just couldn't move on from it ever. No matter how bad it got. Every time, you know, I would even turn on a new FIFA and everything. First has to be Arsenal, man. First has to be Arsenal.
मेरा भी सेम सीन है. तो हम लोग स्कूल में थे तो वो टाइम में I think it was back in 2003 या 2. Back then, desktop computers used to be all the rage, है ना पूरा. Either assembled one या फिर वो कैथोड रे वाला जो पेटू सा मॉनिटर आता था वो वाला.
हाँ.
तो एंड मैं आई यूज्ड टू प्ले मॉर्टल कॉम्बैट, मैक्स पेन 1, मैक्स पेन 2 ये सब खेलता था उसमें. ठीक है. एंड दिस गाय हियर एपी अभिषेक, उसने मेरे को एक बार एक सीडी वाला गेम दिया. ठीक है कि भाई ये ले FIFA 2004 है, ये बहुत बढ़िया गेम है, ये खेल. एंड द फर्स्ट टीम अल्फाबेटिकली इट यूज्ड टू बी सॉर्टेड ऑल द क्लब्स. तो ए में पहला आएगा आर्सेनल आएगा. तो मैं भी कुछ आइडिया नहीं क्या है करके तो आई पिक्ड आर्सेनल. ऑफसाइड रूल को ऑफ करके गेम चालू, ठीक है। मेरा
Offside rule को off करके
ठीक है।
एक्चुअली काश रियल लाइफ में भी होता है.
आपका ऑल टाइम फेवरेट आर्सेनल प्लेयर कौन है?
I never realized it at the point when I was watching him, but I think Dennis Bergkamp has to be there. I think he is my favorite player of all time. Again, like when I was watching him, I was like, सब players की quality ऐसी होगी, everyone can probably do what he's doing. Then when you start watching football a little more and you start understanding the game a little more, you kind of realize कि इतना unique profile था बंदे का. Now, तो of course, everyone's used to those 10s and your false 9s and your advancing 8s and your पता नहीं क्या क्या romdetters, इतने सारे technical tactical slang आ गया. He was, I think, the first complete footballer. यार, he could do everything, from scoring to assisting to probably scoring the most beautiful goal in Premier League history मेरे हिसाब से. Also was the first guy जो मैं I was always used to look for Dennis Bergkamp in my FIFA 2000 कि Dennis Bergkamp क्या नाम है Dennis Bergkamp, इससे गोल मारेंगे. And so yeah, I used to do that.
नो वंडर, आई मीन थियरी ऑनरी को भी अभी आजकल मतलब इफ यू आस्क हिम ऑन इंटरव्यूज वगैरह वो बोलता है कि नॉट मेसी, नॉट रोनाल्डिनो, इट इज डेनिस बर्गकैम्प इज द बेस्ट प्लेयर तो जिसके साथ वो खेला है अपने लाइफ टाइम में. नॉट इवन जीजू भी नहीं है.
Best player you played alongside? Huh?
Dennis Bergkamp.
Not Messi?
Dennis Bergkamp.
इट इज डेनिस बर्गकैम्प एंड स्टैचू तो है हम लोग के स्टेडियम के बाहर डेनिस बर्गकैम्प का, वेरी आइकॉनिक. एंड करंट सेटअप में कौन है आपका फेवरेट प्लेयर?
I have a very soft spot for Gabriel Martinelli. I know Saka सब कहेंगे, I love Saka, I love Odegaard, I love all the boys, but I have a very soft spot for Gabriel Martinelli. Because his story is also very nice यार. हमने उसको even though like we got him from like the 3rd division in Brazil for like 6 million,
Yes.
but even his background, you know, like 2 बार trials थे Man United में, एक फलाना ढमकाना जगह, I think he had a trial at Madrid as well. And then, you know, सब कुछ करके he finally joined here and we were like, कौन है Gabriel Martinelli? And then he just burst onto the scene and yeah, he's not looked back ever since. You can see he loves the club. मतलब contract extension से उसका एक बार question पूछा and he's like, I'm just looking for the pen, where is it? And so, you know, you can't replicate that sort of love. You can't put a value on that sort of love. So if somebody like asks me, Daksh bhai, will you sell Martinelli to this team for 100 million? No, because you might get a new player for 100 million, but you'll never replicate that sort of loyalty and love that he has for the Arsenal. So yeah, I love Gabriel Martinelli the most. I have Martinelli, Saka, Leah Williamson, and Big Gabby. Yeah. I think Big Gabby is also somebody who needs a lot of love, and that's it.
बिग गैबी मेरा फेवरेट प्लेयर है करंट सेटअप
Yeah.
में, बिकॉज आई फील कि वो इतना अंडररेटेड है ना, एंड बिकॉज ही डज द जॉब ऑफ टू प्लेयर्स बेसिकली. लेफ्ट बैक का रोल करता है बिकॉज जिनचेंको तो पता नहीं क्या ही अपने जोन में रहता है वो तो डिपेंड ही नहीं करता है कभी. तो he does that role of a left back and a centre back, and he does that so well, and he's one of the highest scoring centre backs also, मतलब since 2020. तो वो stat भी काफी crazy है. And
ये कोई आप सच क्यों नहीं बताते कि आपका फेवरेट प्लेयर गैब्रियल जेसुस है? एक्चुअल प्रेम है आपका.
नहीं, सो फ्लेयर वाले प्लेयर्स तो ऑब्वियसली सबको पसंद रहेंगे ही, लाइक जैक विल्शर, सैंटी काज़ोला, मार्टिन ओडेगार्ड, ये टाइप के प्लेयर्स तो सबको पसंद ऑब्वियसली होंगे. एंड स्पेशली इफ यू आर लेफ्ट फुटेड तो वो तो और ही मतलब लाइक सोने पे सुहागा टाइप्स. कमिंग बैक टू गैबी वाला पॉइंट, ही वाज फर्स्ट हायर्ड इन टू फॉर्म अ पार्टनरशिप विद बेन वाइट एट सेंटर बैक पे, फिर देन अगेन विद सलीबा. तो वो ट्रांजिशन पे भी वो अडेप्ट भी कर रहा है वैसे. तो दैट इज व्हाई आई फील कि सो मैसिवली अंडररेटेड एंड मेरे को वो बहुत पसंद है.
Played pretty much every game for us this season, if I'm not wrong.
नहीं पहला 2 गेम उसको बिठाया था ना अटेना में.
अच्छा हाँ, उसके अलावा वो तो यार वो
क्वेश्चन फॉर एपी, इनोली भाई एंड एसपी, आप लोग को आर्सेनल सेटअप में कौन पसंद है? करंट सेटअप में कोई पसंद है भी? हाँ, एक नाम तो बोलो यार, ऐसा नहीं क्या कोई पसंद है, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता.
No, for me it is Odegaard. I think he looks very flamboyant on the pitch. Every time the ball comes to him, I think there's something going to happen. But there is ऊपर नीचे है, but I think this guy looks very prominent. And also Rice, Declan Rice.
My name already Daksh has mentioned. जो सब कोई साका बोलेंगे ना, तो मेरे को but actually I have a soft corner for him even in the English team. I put it in the previous podcast saying that Saka is the best English player right now, even like more than Kane. I am looking at him when the ball goes to him. So even in the Arsenal team, I love the guy.
मैं तो कंप्लेन नहीं कर रहा, बट रियल वाले फैंस देखो बाहर ढूंढेंगे तेरे को, मतलब कि काम मिलेगा तेरे को.
कहीं कोई भी ढूंढ ले, लेकिन यार Saka is the best English player for me.
ओवर बेलिंगहम, would you say?
Not right now, very young. So मतलब again very promising and looks like a powerhouse of a talent. But Saka being for so long, and he's been with that Arsenal side when they lost like the first 3 games, went down to like 14-15 position, फिर ऊपर आए. So I've seen that
Started
journey.
as a left back. He started as a left back, bro. Crazy.
crazy.
I would say for Declan Rice for sure, because मुझे लग रहा था till last season that he is the missing piece or missing jigsaw. And if Arsenal go on to win the league, na, so I believe it will be down to him only. Even I watched the Liverpool game, right? That guy was everywhere, literally
Right.
everywhere in the field.
वो वाला मीम अभी चल रहा है, वो आप लोगों ने
Up,
देखा क्या कि मतलब when साला एंड
5-on-1
वो मार्च कर रहे हैं, वो पीछे ऐसा आ रहा है एंड वो गेम ऑफ थ्रोन्स जॉन स्नो वाला रेफरेंस.
I think what Dennis Bergkamp wala goal. No, just again, Daksh, barring that goal, which is another memorable goal of Arsenal that you can think about. Just close your eyes and just think about one goal, which is not Dennis Bergkamp.
This happened in the Champions League. It was Arsenal versus Ludogorets. जिसमें मेसेट ओजिल ने कीपर को लॉब किया, 2 प्लेयर को बिठाया. भाई that goal, yeah, for quality, that goal was absolutely amazing. The most hype I have been. I was in a bus in London, okay, and Arsenal were playing Bournemouth, and Arsenal were losing. 2-2 कर लिया था हमने, खींच लिया था, and I was like so pissed. I was telling my girlfriend, हम पहले ऐसे पहले क्यों नहीं खेल सकते हम? And she was, of course, had no idea what I'm talking about.
Talk about others, not me.
घर जाना है.
And then so there's this bus stop called Tottenham Court Road, and as soon as the bus drive, वो उसमें automated announcement आई, next stop is Tottenham Court Road. उसी टाइम मेरे ना फोन पे वो अपडेट आया. I was watching the match, of course, so that was a little delayed, but उसमें आया Reece Nelson Arsenal 3-2, and I stood, मैं बस में खड़ा होके जो नाचा ना, मतलब full My Name is लखन वाला मैंने किया उधर बैठ के. And then I took a picture of Tottenham Court Road, and then I was like, let's go. मजे आ गए भाई.
मैं जब था ना वहाँ पे, तो I used to wear this overcoat over my Arsenal jersey to the stadium. ठीक है, मेरे को डर लगता था because I used to stay at Upton Park. and West Ham fans ना एकदम मतलब full on crazy रहते हैं, ठीक है, localites especially. And मैं मेरा कली के साथ हम लोग टिकट विकेट हम लोग को मिला था to watch a FA Cup game against Lincoln City, I think. मेरा पहला मैच था वो बेसिकली. तो मैं पूरा जर्सी वर्सी लेके आया हूँ घर से, ठीक है, कि नहीं मैं तो हूँ लंदन में वर्क वीजा पे हूँ, मैं तो जाऊंगा मैच, मैं तो 2-3 जर्सी मतलब लेके आया हूँ. एक रेड वाला पहना, उसके अंदर और एक पुराना वाला रेड वाला पहना हूँ, 2, ठीक है. तो मैं निकला, तो द मोमेंट आई स्टेप्ड आउट ऑफ माई हाउस, में देखा कि 3-4 लोग मेरे को स्टेयर कर रहे हैं. तो वो घर का ओनर, मतलब वी वर स्टेइंग एट अ मतलब पीजी वाला है, तो ओनर यूज्ड टू स्टे विद अस. वो लोग बोले कि अरे ये यहाँ पे स्टेडियम के बाजू में है, हम लोग रह रहे हैं, तो आर्सेनल का जर्सी पहन के निकलेगा तो थोड़ा तो लोग देखो. तो आई पुट ऑन माई ओवरकोट. अभी भी सेम सीन वैसा ही है क्या वहाँ पे?
So where I stay is in like southeast, so it's like an hour away from the Emirates. I wear an overcoat, but that's because I get really cold. But I think as and when you get closer to the stadium ना, उधर scene नहीं है. Like you see so many Arsenal fans. You take the tube on match day, you'll see so many fans.
Once tube में पहुंच अंदर घुस गए ना, फिर तो कोई लोचा नहीं है. It's the part when you walk into that tube वाला वो वाला रोड ना, वहाँ पे थोड़ा सीन रहता है.
अब I think it's a little chill. I've gone to Tesco just in my Arsenal kit also. It's been like fine. People don't really care. They're like okay fine, yeah.
अच्छा.
उधर तब तो मेरे हिसाब से अब उतना सीन नहीं है. I don't know about पहले का क्या सीन था, but for me it's been like super okay.
Right.
भाई सबसे ज़्यादा guts थे ड्रॉग बाबा के. Okay, he was in London. He was going for like a tour and everything. And so Shashwat, he went into the Arsenal stadium tour wearing a Chelsea kit. And he was telling me everyone was looking looking at him, and then one of the tour guides was like, buddy, you better cover up, otherwise you're gonna get stabbed.
Shout out to Drog Baba. जल्दी hopefully हम लोग भी collab करेंगे.
I think a great time for an Arsenal fan कि at Christmas you're on top of the table. Now the stats are कि last 14 seasons में 10 of the teams that have been on top of the table जीते हैं, and the only team that's been able to clip the table toppers is City in recent time. They're not doing that well as of now. What is your like prediction here कि how will the rest of the season phase out given that you guys are at top right now? Do you think it's a very good chance to win the league?
Last season तो मतलब यार, if you look at the stats, there's this Premier League graphic of teams on top this season and teams on top last season. उसमें था we were 1 point ahead of where we are right now in the points total, and we have played 4 games less. तो मतलब अराउंड 14 games में हमारे 42 या 41 points थे. That is absolutely crazy streak भाई. और जो हम games हारे भी थे, that was purely down to I think one was Man United.
I think 50 points हम लोग reach कर गए थे at 19 games.
हाँ, एंड दैट इज अ क्रेजी स्ट्रिक जो मुझे नहीं लगता कभी रेप्लिकेट होगी. दैट जस्ट फेल्ट लाइक पूरा यूफोरिया कि मतलब मैं तो बस नशे में ही चले जा रहा हूँ भाई, ये क्या हो रहा है, हर हफ्ते हम जीत रहे हैं. मेरे को तो आई डिडंट इवन नो हाउ टू रिएक्ट टू दैट फीलिंग. दिस टाइम आई फील इट्स अ लिटिल मोर कंपोज्ड इवन दो लाइक वी आर बिहाइंड ऑफ अ टैली लास्ट वीक, बिकॉज आई फील देयर इज अ लॉट मोर कंट्रोल. इट्स नॉट लाइक हाँ मतलब कुछ भी चल रहा है. इट्स नॉट लाइक टू sluggers just punching each other and just hoping कि we come out on top. This time it feels a lot more composed. There sounds like a better strategy. That being said यार, ये जो now these stats ना कि क्रिसमस पे जो टॉप होता है वो जीतता है, relegation पे इतने पॉइंट्स चाहिए तो वो relegate होता है.
Does it really mean anything?
All of these trends are there for a reason because I think data used to back them up. But I think since that anomalous rise of Man City na, winning 5 out of 6 and whatever 6 out of 7, three-peat कर लिया, Centurions बन गए, and for the last 4-5 years that Liverpool Man City वाला जो पूरा run चल रहा है ना, I think that skewed the numbers so differently कि now it is sort of pointless to consider past data as long as these two teams are there in the picture. तो अगर कोई कहता है कि 40 पॉइंट पे या 36 पॉइंट्स पे रेलेगेट नहीं होते, आई थिंक yeah, that can hold true because now the worst teams will do absolutely even worse than that because top teams are that far ahead. Same thing if somebody says कि usually 85 points is enough to win the league, but then you see कि Liverpool, Man City तो भाई 90 plus point पे भी जाके Liverpool league नहीं जीती है. So that's completely skewed the data मेरे हिसाब से. So I don't really take these numbers as seriously until either Pep or Klopp or both leave. Because तब मेरे हिसाब से तब थोड़ा regression आएगा. अभी we are in this era जहाँ पे सब everything is a little exaggerated, a little inflated. So yeah, for me, but I am if you had to compare myself this season and last season, I would say I'm a little more confident this season than last season.
लास्ट सीजन के का जो स्ट्रीक था आर्सेनल का, उसको इवन इनविंसिबल्स वाले सीजन के साथ कंपेयर किया गया एंड आर्सेनल वर अहेड एट लॉट ऑफ टाइम स्टैम्प्स.
Yeah.
While that happened, I talked to a lot of my friends and whoever was a non-Arsenal fan said कि Arsenal are playing amazing and they might win the league. Any Arsenal fan I asked, they said हम बिल्कुल नहीं जीत रहे because this has happened a lot of times. We go ahead.
That's just trauma, my friend. That's just trauma. It's like you have you seen that meme where like this guy is just DMing this girl and he's just like hi, and then she replies back and he's like I don't know what to do at this point. I never got to this stage. It's that it's just PTSD. ठीक है. We just didn't know how to act, man. हमें लग रहा था अच्छा मेरी सिलेक्शन हो गई है, हम टॉप पे हैं. It was kind of like that for us.
One thing मुझे पूछना है कि what are your expectations in the Champions League?
I think quarters वाले draw बहुत मुश्किल होने वाले हैं. I think it's very unlikely we get an easy draw. So I think reaching the quarters has to be there. I'm not already premature celebration नहीं कर रहा. पोर्टो को भी हराना important है. ड्रगाओ पे तो बहुत important है.
अच्छा मान लो मतलब अगर आर्सेनल पहुंचता है सेमीज, उससे मतलब हाँ मान लो पहुंच जाता है एंड सीजन में इन EPL we finish let's say second. So does this season look like a successful season to you?
Sort of depends, right? मतलब अगर आप लड़खड़ाते सेकंड पहुंचे हो, मतलब you've been playing absolutely crap but everyone else around you has been crap as well, then तो फिर I will not be happy. Same thing for the Champions League. अगर आप Champions League में पिट गए हो and you have not shown any fight and you've just been completely outclassed, then I'd not be happy with it. But if you've given a fighting performance जैसे Man City कितने सालों तक होता था, someday like Man City have gotten eliminated from the Champions League before this so many times. कभी वो मोनाको से हार जाते थे. That sort of elimination I will not be okay with. But if you're like beating a top team for like 80 minutes and then वो top team के अंदर का पता नहीं क्या भूत जाग जाता है, and then they end up beating you regardless, then you're like चलो ठीक है, मतलब we gave our best, we were on top. Yeah, I can sort of accept that. And so as long as we fight, I don't think it's a failure. It shows progression मेरे हिसाब से. But you have to come away with the season with something. If you cannot come up with something tangible like a trophy, then at least in terms of players and everything आपको कुछ ना कुछ करना पड़ेगा. Eventually, otherwise these star players will start having second doubts कि can this team actually win for all the light bulb जला लिया and drawing कर लिया Arteta ने.
A ball by himself is nothing. I want to see a team that is connected with each other and that shines.
Can we really do something tangible with this team? So it's very important to set a winning culture as well in this club.
Overrated 11 of EPL. सब लोग रेडी हैं? Overrated ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब फुद्दू players हैं या फिर मतलब overpriced हैं, ऐसा नहीं है.
Are we saying overrated in the terms of like even if they are a good player, just people think that they're like the best in the world, or are we saying कि like people जितना सोच रहे उतने अच्छे हैं नहीं? क्या what is overrated?
आपका पहला गेस करेक्ट है आपका.
All right.
मतलब a very elite level का player भी can also be overrated.
Yeah, true.
Like Trent, James, Joel Matip. मतलब मैं examples दे रहा हूँ बस. Not necessarily मेरे टीम में है. ठीक है, मैं फ्रेंडली फायर भी मेरे हैं, एक दो नाम है मेरे टीम में भी है, तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि ये गोलकीपर से स्टार्ट करेंगे, ईच विल गिव नेम, तो we have to come to an agreement कि नहीं वोट करेंगे, and Daksh bhai will be having the final say.
Nice.
Either via majority or maybe via Daksh bhai का final vote.
I have the opportunity to do the funniest thing. If I just end up, if it's my deciding vote, I can make the entire overrated 11 a Man United 11.
I was ready to do that myself.
मैं नहीं मानता।
आप बस बुरा मान के मतलब ऐसा मत करना कि भाई नेक्स्ट वाले में नहीं होगा, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, ठीक है?
This is not the right time to be a United fan. But you never know, the time might come.
हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं गोलकीपर से। मेरा नाम है एडरसन। आई थिंक ही इज very overrated. He's a good player. अच्छा goalkeeper है. He's very good with his feet. Treble जीता last season. He has won many titles with Pep. But क्या वो save अच्छा कर पाता है? क्या उसका reactions अच्छा है? I don't think so. मतलब वो एलिसन का लेवल पे तो बिल्कुल है नहीं. Which is why Alisson is in the national team and एडरसन कीप्स मिसिंग आउट. अगर मेरे को पूछेंगे कि टॉप 2 गोलकीपर्स कौन है लीग में, ईपीएल में, मैं बोलूंगा एलिसन एंड मे बी एमी मार्टिनेज में बोलूंगा. एडरसन प्रोबेबली कम्स 3rd या 4th या 5th में भी. तो उसको सिटी फैंस एंड बहुत सारे न्यूट्रल फैंस भी इतना हाइप करते हैं ना कि नहीं एडरसन मतलब सही गोलकीपर है, ये वो है. मेरे को नहीं लगता है वैसे. तो मेरे लिस्ट में तो है एडरसन.
I feel that the defense is a bit more to blame than him. And this season also he has kept up his standards. My vote is for Robert Sanchez. I feel कि Chelsea has had some good lineup of matches with opponents which are not that difficult to defend against, and the defenders are doing okay, not the best. But ये Gusto, Colville and all, they are stepping
उनका
up.
तो नंबर 2 गोलकीपर अभी अच्छा कर रहा है यार, पेट्रोविच. वो अच्छा कर रहा है उल्टा. कैराबाओ में तो उनको लिया पेनल्टीज में.
And he's done some gaffes also, like he just let the ball go and then counter में Declan Rice ने पेल दिया. So this has just happened this season, which is where I feel कि, and Sanchez was rated very highly through the season also. तो जब तुम इतने hype के साथ आ रहे हो ना, I think you should perform better, and so he's my overrated.
Sorry Kishore bhai, but I have to start with Onana.
But Onana is he really rated? He's not.
मेरे लिस्ट में तो ओनाना ही है, but let him finish and I want to give
spoiler. मेरे लिस्ट में भी ओनाना है. Okay.
Oh.
When the transfer happened, right, then obviously the hype was मतलब क्या वो फाइनल खेला था ना उससे पहले वाले सीजन में मैन सिटी, राइट? हाँ, तो आई मीन ही मेड सम गुड सेव्स ऑब्वियसली, एंड देन ऑब्वियसली प्रीमियर लीग आता है तो भाई वो हाइप डबल ट्रिपल क्वाड्रुपल हो जाता है.
यू रिमेंबर द गेम अगेंस्ट आर्सेनल जब वो आए थे यूनाइटेड, एंड ओनाना वो आगे आके स्टाइल में आके खेल रहा था, एंड यूज्ड टू गिव लॉन्ग बॉल्स टू, बट वो हो नहीं पा रहा था. एंड वो दिन है एंड आज का दिन है, एंड द नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स ही हैज बीन ऑन द फ्लोर ऐसे करके ना, मुंडी नीचे करके ग्राउंड पे रो रहा है. तो दैट हैज बीन अ रिकरिंग थिंग विद यूनाइटेड एंड ओनाना.
Onana is the name that's there. I think like Abhishek said, we had a world-class keeper, De Gea, and I can't think of anyone better than De Gea, considering that he was taking care of a leaking defense for I don't know 5-6 years, man. I think has kept us in Premier League many of the times in the couple of seasons that we've had last 6-7 seasons.
नहीं तो relegation पक्का था ना.
So I'll come back on that.
गजब बेइज्जती है.
And one complaint, as a moderator, you're not supposed to pick these words.
Sorry.
You're reaching the Champions League, all those words you're supposed to pick. Right?
ये जोक करने का टाइम नहीं है.
So what I meant was, see, when there's a manager who believes something, I thought, okay, let's trust this guy. And he said he's going to get Onana. Watched his videos, he was pretty good at that. And his way of playing was playing from the back. All right, where he was like probably the 5th defender, where he plays and gets it up, which was evidently missing in the last 2 seasons of ETH. Before that as well. So I was so excited about Onana. I said, okay, fine, De Gea. At times we have to take some critical decisions. We can't be with one particular guy forever. All right. It can be Thierry Henry. It can be De Gea. This Thierry Henry was for Vivek. So sometimes you have to take those tough calls. So what I meant was, uske baad his impact, his expectation, I think it was too much for him to handle. And this has been the case with many players who have come to United. And I think this will also be the case if Osimhen comes to Arsenal as well.
Come back.
Onana, man. देखो यार, whatever AP said is 100% ट्रू. वो इतना हाइप से आया था इंटर में, उसने क्या बॉल्स मारता है, मतलब ऐसे लग रहा था कि मतलब मेसी अगर गोलकीपर खेलता है तो वो ओनाना है. ऐसे वो ड्रिबल करेगा, वो ऐसे पास पहुंचा देगा. फर्स्ट कपल ऑफ मिस्टेक्स के बाद बंदा खुद जाके बोलता है, आई वांट टू गिव एन इंटरव्यू टुडे. हैं प्री सीजन पे वो हैरी केन वो क्या हैरी मैग्वायर पे चिल्ला रहा होता है तो वो क्लिप हो जाता है, दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ कीपर वी नीड एंड यू नो डेविड de Gea bye bye and stuff like that happened. Brother, I have seen so many memes. I've seen him on tractors. I've seen him like sprawled on the ground. ठीक है. I've seen a 7-minute fail compilation. Imagine half a season नहीं हुआ है, 7 मिनट की fails की compilation है कीपर की.
Genuinely, as a United fan, it's disgraceful, yeah. Because against Bayern, missing such easy, I mean, all you had to do. I was saying, if I was there, I would have held that ball. Bloody, he lets it go like that so easily. You're playing against Bayern.
For him, na, it's not even about the goals he's conceded. There's been times when he's put his team into trouble. वो गलत पास दे के एक बार कैसमीरो ने चैंपियंस लीग में रेड कार्ड ले लिया. I have a little sympathy for him. I think jokes aside though, I think when Lisandro Martinez comes, you'll see a better version of him. I just don't think the current भाई जॉनी एवेंस ना फिटनेस के लिए आया था, ठीक है, मैन यूनाइटेड पे. वो सोच रहा था कि मैं थोड़ी सी फिटनेस ले लूंगा, सम चैंपियनशिप क्लब माइट एक्चुअली लाइक टेक अ पंट ऑन मी एंड मुझे अच्छे से पैसे मिले, लाइक रिटायर वेरी चिल. एंड सो आई थिंक लिजांड्रो के बाद he'll be fine. But no man, he was so overrated, man. He was so overrated.
तो 3 votes go to Onana. तो Onana is our goalkeeper list में. Onana goes in first. मेरे midfield के 3 नाम हैं. एक है Enzo, Emil Smith Rowe. तीसरा I was actually going to go for Bruno Fernandes, but I'm slightly thinking to change.
Look at Kishore.
मैं slightly सोच रहा हूँ कि उसको change करके Mason Mount कर दूँ. But then again Mason.
There are 20 teams in English Premier League, right? There are 20 teams. Midfield में overhyped. Bernardo Silva.
Oh damn!
Is
really?
Is yeah. So is
रैशफोर्ड खेल रहे हैं, वो कैसे किसी और का नाम ले सकते हैं?